The topic is being more directive in the coaching, giving possible solutions, possible futures, and possible celebrations, and even challenging people's assumptions. Because the assumptions that your client makes about the world, they sometimes confuse with the world. As a matter of fact, I think most of us, we see the world occurring and we think that's the world. But the occurring world is not the world. The occurring world is from our assumptions about the world that completely color our glasses about the world, and then the world shows up as we see it, not as it is. This guy said it well, this new idea, really. It's such a wonderful new idea. People are not disturbed by things, but by the view they take of them. Let's see, he's a really new guy. He's born in, I think, 50 A.D. And so he was saying that stuff back before the first century. And I think we, as coaches, can help our clients see when they're doing that. And it's tricky, because to challenge someone's assumptions is almost, for most people, like challenging them. Most of us think we are our thoughts. Most of us think we are our beliefs. Most of us think we are our assumptions. And when we challenge someone's assumptions, they often feel like we're challenging them. So to do this is to be careful and gentle and respectful. And the whole idea of doing it is to assist your client to move from being a victim to being self-generative. To assist your client to move from being a place where the world is doing it to them, and I claim that that's when they are their beliefs and assumptions, to a place where they see that maybe the world is occurring because of the view that they take of the world. So that's what I'm recommending you practice doing. And it's an advanced technique. I think I'll be able to demonstrate it more powerfully than we can talk about it. But I want to talk about it for a few minutes, and then I want to demonstrate it.
As you talk about this, I'm struggling with how to help people separate out their thoughts, beliefs, and assumptions from deeply held personal values, which might be a bit different.
Yeah, I believe, Jerry, that I am not my values. I have values. I love my values. But I think that when I am my values, it's actually more difficult to manifest them. It's more difficult to act consistent with them because I'm so attached to them. And it's, for example, I have a value of being light, of being funny, enjoyable, joyful, sometimes ecstatic, happy. So I have that value. But if I'm too attached to that value, then my other value of being honest and authentic sometimes is really compromised because I'm not always joyful and light. And so I think I can actually manifest my values better if I'm not attached to them.
Okay. And helping people separate their values from their assumptions sounds like a good challenge for a coach.
Yeah. Here's what I think is the difference, is that my assumptions are the stories that I'm making up about what's occurring. The example earlier today, driver drives by me, honks, gestures in a way that I maybe have found obscene in the past, and then I make up a story. I can either make up the story called, wow, that person cares about me, wants me to be a better driver, and is giving me some strong feedback, or which I think is a true story. Or I can make up a story called, I'm a terrible person and people hate me. Or I can make up a story that that person's a jerk and I ought to run him off the road. And neither one of those stories are very empowering. So I help the client identify the story, see if they can come up with a different story that's more empowering. Value, on the other hand, is what is it that you want to bring into the world? Thanks. Just good conversation. Lorna.
Well, you may have partially answered my question, but I think people are aware of their thoughts and beliefs and values more than they're aware of their assumptions. Yeah. And so I think my question is, if we're going to help people to question their assumptions, we have to first help them recognize them. Yes. And I'd like some help on how one does that as a coach.
Yeah. I think, first of all, you recognize that that's your job, and the way you help them identify it is this simple. Now, what assumptions are you making up about that? What stories do you think you have? What are your thoughts that are occurring as that occurs? I just think we ask them. And then, of course, we'll listen and we feed it back. And we say, now, is that pretty close? And if they say, yeah, we say, all right, now, that's what you've been assuming. That's the story you make up. And you think it's true. Absolutely it's true. Because people think it's true. Say, well, maybe it's true, but could there be another story that would also be plausible and maybe even true, that would be more empowering, that would leave you in better shape? So ask for the story and then ask for them to invent a different one.
Well, I think when we're talking about assumptions, we're really talking about worldview.
Yes.
So I might have a worldview that the world is not a safe place, which is pretty deeply embedded. Or I might have a worldview that the world is just waiting to give me good stuff. So I'm not sure that those questions quite get to that for me.
Mm-hmm. I think you're right, because I think that a worldview is a little bigger than just the assumption about this particular moment. The worldview is kind of how the lenses I look at everything through, and if
I'm used to wearing glasses, I don't even see that they're there.
Right.
And so part of the coaching role is to help me see my glasses.
Yes. Yes.
And so can you give me some more hints on that?
Yeah. It's, I, as your coach, have been talking to you for a long time. And like everyone, I feel like you see the world through a particular set of lenses. And I can understand why. Given your history, I can understand why you often feel that it's not safe and that you're protective. And I understand that. Now, it's possible to change that worldview. First of all, to see if that's accurate. I'm just your coach. I'm not omnipotent, and I can't see as clearly as I'd like. So I'm asking you to look to see, is that accurate? Do you kind of walk around sheltering yourself and protecting yourself and feeling like the world is unsafe?
Okay.
So I throw out a possibility, but not like some might when they say, I know how you are. You, on the Enneagram, are a 7. And therefore, you're da-da, ba-dum, ba-dum, ba-dum. Or, I'm glad you took the Myers-Briggs because now I know what kind of a person you are. You're actually very protective.
Thank you. That's helpful.